straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Now, 2 test matches are starting off tomorrow. One is between India and South Africa in Cape Town, and the second is between Australia and Pakistan at Sydney. Both the last matches of the series. And there have been some interesting talking points surrounding both. Pakistan is at the brink of yet another whitewash, and yet they are fuming over what transpired in the previous test match, threatening to bring in the ICC to play judge and jury. And South Africa is facing a bit of heat from many strong voices in the cricket world. This after they announced a B team to tour New Zealand for the Test series. Steve Waugh has asked if it is the death of Test cricket. We get you all the perspectives of a matter that is gaining significance sharply world over. And some news from the world of MMA, mixed martial arts. 2024 is definitely the year of comebacks and exciting face-offs. Stay on to find out more on this. But first, let's take a look at all the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. We'll start with tennis. Rafael Nadal made a dominating comeback to the tennis court after almost a year. The Spaniard faced Austrian Dominic Thiem in the Brisbane International Tournament. Nadal outplayed Thiem 7-5, 6-1 in straight sets to enter the round of 16. Naomi Osaka also made a winning comeback to tennis at the same tournament. Japanese Osaka beat Germany's Tamara Korpash 6-3, 7-6 in straight sets. Osaka was seen back on the court after a gap of more than a year as well. She had to take a break from the sport due to mental health conditions and her pregnancy. In football, Liverpool beat Newcastle United 4-2 in last night's match. The game was scoreless in the first half. Then Liverpool and Newcastle both scored 2 goals each in the first 20 minutes of the second half. Striker Mo Salah scored a double to seal the win for the Reds. With the win, Liverpool are now at the top of the Premier League. World Cup winner Jenny Hermoso arrived at Spain's High Court in Madrid today. Hermoso testified against Luis Rubiales, who's forcefully kissed her after the World Cup win. Hermoso is expected to reiterate her allegations in the court. And Kenyan police have arrested 2 people on suspicion of killing Uganda's Olympian athlete Benjamin Kiplagat. The long-distance runner was stabbed to death while training in Kenya. He was found murdered in his car by local residents. Kiplagat had represented Uganda at the 2008, 2012 and the 2016 Olympic Games. Now, Pakistan will play Australia in the 3rd test match tomorrow. This will be at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Australia are aiming for a washout, or a whitewash rather, after winning the first 2 matches. And if so, this will be the 3rd consecutive clean sweep that the Aussies would have achieved against Pakistan in tests. Pakistan, on the other hand, are still upset about the 2nd test. They came close to levelling the series, were on track to reach the target set till man in form Mohammad Rizwan got out. Had he stayed, things might have taken a different turn, which is what Pakistan believe. Now, they were at 219 runs and were trying to chase down a 317-run target. Mohammad Rizwan was at 35 runs and was looking comfortable and solid. He was up against Australian captain Pat Cummins. Cummins bowled a bouncer that Rizwan tried to duck. The ball went extremely close to Rizwan's bat, and once it hit the mitts of wicketkeeper Alex Carey, the Aussies shouted for an appeal. The on-field umpire declared not out. So Australia challenged the decision and asked for the 3rd umpire review. The ultra edge showed a spike when the ball passed Rizwan's hands. Then the 3rd umpire referred to infrared. The images showed a white spot on Rizwan's wrist pad, which is a part of the glove. Rizwan was declared out. He immediately started discussing the 3rd umpire's decision with the on-field umpire. Eventually, Rizwan went back to the dugout. He had no choice, frustrated over being dismissed unfairly, or so he believed. Australia went on to win the match by 79 runs, but Pakistan were not happy one bit. Pakistan's cricket board head Zaka Ashraf said he will raise the matter with the International Cricket Council, or the ICC. Ashraf says that many unfair decisions were taken against Pakistan due to technology. Pakistan's newly appointed team director, Mohammad Hafiz, was visibly upset. Here's what he had to say after the match.
If you look at the entire game, there were very inconsistent decisions by the umpires. We play this beautiful game of cricket with natural instincts, and we all know the basics of the game.
However, Hafiz clarified that he was not against technology. He was just against some decisions that are made solely on what technology reflects.
I am not against technology in the game, but if it brings doubt and confusion, it is not acceptable. Some decisions were not understandable. The ball hitting the stumps is always out. I will never understand why there is an umpire's call.
After the match, Hafiz was seen having a chat with Rizwan. That's when the batter told him that the ball never really touched his glove. He never felt it. Rizwan said he felt there was no conclusive evidence from the review, which is why he decided to speak with the on-field umpire. It looks like Pakistan was denied a match-winning knock. Rizwan is the backbone of Pakistan's batting. He stands tall when the team needs him. In fact, when he was kept aside in the first test match in place of Sarfraz, the internet erupted. Loyal, die-hard Pakistani fans were upset with this move, calling the team selections a joke. That's the kind of impact Rizwan and his merit has had on Pakistan cricket and, of course, its fans. Coming back to the second test, his dismissal has clearly shaken up the team. The PCB are now prepared to present their concerns to the ICC, the cricket's governing body. They want things rectified before the third test match. The Shaheens are already upset about losing the first two test matches. If they lose the next one, then it will be a whitewash for Pakistan once more. They have always struggled when playing down under. Pakistan have had a dismal test match record against the Aussies. Of the 39 matches that they have played, Pakistan have won only 4 of them, drawn 7 of them and lost a huge number of 28 matches. It's a frontier they have had difficulty surmounting time and again. The last time that Pakistan won a test match against the Aussies down under was way back in 1985, during the golden era of Pakistan cricket when Wasim Akram was leading the side. The third and remaining test match is an opportunity for Pakistan to turn things around. A lot, of course, depends on captain Shan Masood, who is leading the side for the first time. And the pressure will be truly on the T20 captain Shaheen Shah Afridi later on, as the year is another World Cup year. We keep reminding you that it is around the corner in the next 6-7 months. There's a lot of chatter going on about that back home. Former cricketer Shahid Afridi has expressed his preferred choice to lead Pakistan in T20 matches. Afridi said that he was impressed by Mohammad Rizwan and thought that he would be the perfect leader. Afridi even joked that Shaheen Shah Afridi, who is also his son-in-law, became the T20 captain by mistake. He says, and I quote, "I admire Rizwan's hard work and focus level. His best quality, which I like most, is only focusing on his game and paying no heed to who is doing what and what not. He's really a fighter. I wanted to see Rizwan as the T20 captain, but Shaheen became the skipper by mistake." It's another controversy brewing in Pakistan. That's what we ask. Will there be further postmortems of the cricket squad? Or is this just another chapter in their usual friendly banter? For now, though, the men in green would have to shift their focus on the third test match against Australia. The series has already been in the news for many reasons, not to do with the cricket. Starting with the wrong nomenclature used on the scorecard to refer to Pakistan team in the warm-up game. The word used was Paki, for which they were quick to send out an apology. Then, of course, it was Australian opener Usman Khwaja's message for humanity, which drew the wrath of the ICC. After that came the post-match conference banter, where Pakistan captain Shan Masood said they were the better team, which got Australian captain Pat Cummins to retort that it didn't really matter because they were the team that won. Now it's Mohammad Rizwan versus technology. Let's hope that the third test match has all these elements in it, but along with that, some good cricket. Now, the Indian cricket team is touring South Africa for a test series. The first resulted in a landslide victory for the hosts, and the second one is scheduled to start tomorrow in the very picturesque Cape Town. Kagiso Rabada took his 14th fifer in Test cricket. Dean Elgar notched up his second highest individual Test score and will be leading the side in his final match before walking away in retirement. And the Proteas, coming in hot, will be looking to get in hard and make it a clean sweep against India. Clearly, South Africa loves its Test cricket, right? Well, I'm not too sure of that. Some days ago, Cricket South Africa, or the CSA, released a 14-player squad that will be travelling to New Zealand for a 2-test series next month. It's a list that's stumped everyone. There are no big recognizable names in that entire squad. It's a list that has as many as 7 uncapped players. Neil Brand is yet to play a test for his country when he does On February 4th, he will as captain of the side. 3 of the top 6 players who have been in and around South Africa's test squad, like Keegan Peterson, David Bedingham and Zubair Hamza. Now, we'll talk about David Bedingham in particular a little later. There's an interesting story around him. Peterson was named in the Boxing Day test. Hamza later played test cricket in 2022 in New Zealand, and he's returning after serving a 9-month ban for a doping violation. The only other capped batter is Kaya Zondo. That's the squad, who has played 5 tests and the most recent one against Australia earlier this year. This announcement, of course, has created quite a stir. First, let's understand why this has happened in the first place. The dates of the tests between South Africa and New Zealand are February 4th, when the first test begins, and it ends on the 17th of February with the conclusion of the second test. That is clashing with the South Africa T20 League that's scheduled to take place between January 10th and February 10th, exactly a month. The schedules, of course, cannot change. But when the country is playing a test series, shouldn't their first team or the first squad be there? There is a World Test Championship that's on the line, and it's Test cricket. But no. You see, South Africa, or the CSA, is invested in this league. A league where the main man in charge is Graeme Smith, the legendary South African captain who led the national side through some historic moments across 2 formats, Tests and ODIs. And the CSA has ordered their centrally contracted players to play the SA T20 League. They do not have an option to pull out of this or any other commitments, including national duty. An Indian board like the BCCI can afford putting the national side and their schedule above all else because they can. BCCI is one of the most financially robust cricket boards in the world, but of course not South Africa, who started this league last year in the hopes of making money so that the board can be a little less reliant on a country like India for bilateral series profits and more self-sustaining. A league like this needs the top players to be a part of it. That's what makes any league big and successful. A prime reason why BCCI has strictly ordered all their centrally contracted players to not play or be featured in any other league, because Indian players means big draw, a boost of brand value leading to more audience and more spectators coming in, leading to more sponsors and more revenue. Now, getting back to CSA and SA T20, how much money are we talking about here? Now, according to reports, CSA aims to break even in 4 years and start making a profit in the 5th year of its league. Over 10 years, it has estimated a cost at $56 million and a revenue of $119 million, which will leave the board with a healthy profit of $63 million, which is tons more than the board makes through a bilateral series. So basically, the only way CSA can stay afloat and start showing green officially, a league will be a success when the top players play in it. Hence the diktat for their key players to be part of this. But some former cricket captains, like World Cup winning captain Steve Waugh, is livid. He said, obviously they don't care. It's going to happen if the South African Cricket Board are any indication of the future, keeping their best players at home. If I were New Zealand, I wouldn't even play the series. I don't know why they're even playing. Why would you, when it shows a lack of respect for New Zealand cricket? In fact, he took to Instagram saying that, is this a defining moment in the death of Test cricket? Surely the ICC, along with the cricket boards of India, England and Australia, must step in to protect the purest form of the game. History and tradition must count for something. If we stand by and allow profits to be the defining criteria, the legacy of Sir Don Bradman or W.G. Grace and Sir Garfield Sobers will remain irrelevant. Now, this is not the first time CSA has done this. They got their players to pull out of the ODI series against Australia last year, owing to the launch of the SA T20 League. There is one very interesting story, though, that's coming out of all of this, and that is of David Bedingham. Remember, we started talking about him. Now, CSA had also got their domestic players to enter the player draft. Any franchise interest would mean a big payday, like it has been for Tony DeZorzi, for example, who put in his name and has been picked up by the Durban Supergiants. David Bedingham had put in his name as well, but then he gets a call from the South Africa Test coach.
Shucks just called and said there is a possibility, and as soon as I heard there is a chance that no one from SA20 can play, I thought my chances of playing are probably high. So I didn't even have a second thought. I told him I will take my name straight off the draft so I can hopefully play.
Bedingham, unlike South Africa's first choice players, doesn't have a CSA central contract. He says he has always loved Test cricket. That was his first choice. That showed in his gritty half-century against India in his debut in the Boxing Day Test. To think that back in 2016, playing cricket itself would have been something near impossible. Bellingham had been involved in a car accident that had damaged his limbs. And now all he can think of is playing Test cricket in front of his parents who will be coming in to watch him. Where the first Test match against New Zealand is scheduled to take place. David Bellingham is just one anomaly though. One weird spark in a larger narrative that is slowly taking shape and dominating the story of sporting culture, of countries developing their own T20 leagues, blooding in the fast-paced cricket more than the slow strategic Test cricket. It's happened with football, and the domino effect is already on in cricket. The question is, how invested are the powers that be for keeping certain formats like ODI or Test cricket alive and in the best of its health? Now, we are featuring a different sport today, a contact sport called mixed martial arts or MMA. The Ultimate Fighting Championship, or the UFC, is seeing the return of one of its more popular fighters. Conor McGregor has announced his next fight in June this year. McGregor will be up against Michael Chandler in the middleweight category. Now, those of you who are big followers of UFC are aware of how popular a figure McGregor is. Apart from being known for his lethal left jab, the Irishman is one of the biggest trash talkers and crowd pullers in the sport. McGregor last fought in 2021 and has a record of 22 wins and 6 losses. And his comeback to UFC is going to be nothing short of grand.
Guess who's back? Back again. Notorious McGregor's back. Tell all your friends. Yes, Conor McGregor has announced a comeback to the UFC. The Irishman will be back in the octagon this year. McGregor has announced that he will fight Michael Chandler in the middleweight category. The fight is scheduled for the 29th of June and the arena will be in the American city of Las Vegas. The announcement was McGregor's New Year gift to his fans. Immediately after McGregor announced his return fight, his to-be opponent Michael Chandler was quick to respond. First, Chandler took to his social media to agree to the fight. Then he went on a podcast and said this.
Man, the Mystic Mike prediction. I stand firm in my prediction that I make him second guess himself in the first round. Get him on his heels. Get him real tired by the end of the first break. Break him at the end of the first and finish him in the second. I think I knock him out. Devastating knockout in the second round. And it is going to be epic, man. It is going to be awesome. I just can't wait to compete against him. My hat's off to him. I got a ton of respect for him, but I want to separate him from consciousness and I can't wait to do it.
Chandler says he will knock out McGregor in the second round and that he can't wait to do it. Chandler has already upped his trash-talking game because he knows how much talking McGregor likes to do before a fight. But before McGregor begins his talking, he will have to prepare to back it up. The Irishman hasn't fought in almost 2 years. McGregor was on a winning rampage until 2016. That's when he met Khabib Nurmagomedov. And it was one of the most awaited fights in UFC history. Khabib ended up winning that fight after putting McGregor in a chokehold. After that loss, McGregor came back with a win and then lost his next 2 fights against Dustin Poirier. It was in the second fight against Dustin that McGregor broke his leg and was out of the octagon since. Now he's announced a comeback, and it's going to take a lot if the Irishman wants to win. This will be the first time that he will fight in the middleweight category. He will have to train a lot and train hard to increase his weight to meet Chandler. Just like McGregor, Chandler also has a good fight record. Chandler has won 23 fights and lost 8 fights in his career. The matchup is going to be the most awaited. That's because McGregor's craze and hype are unparalleled. He has a massive fan following, and we can expect a lot of antics from the Irishman in the lead up to the fight. Add to that the many other face-offs we're awaiting, like Messi vs Ronaldo and Nadal vs Alcaraz. 2024 looks like a pretty promising year already.
We're in the chilly months of winter, but some are taking it in their stride. Hundreds of swimmers jumped into the bone-chilling waters of the North Sea in the Netherlands. In today's Last Serve, here's how some swimmers brought in the new year. Well, that's one way to wake up and get ready for the new year. But thanks for watching Firstpost. That's all the time we have today. But for now, tomorrow, I'll see you again at 7 p.m. Bye.